Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Gara here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of July 14th, 2022. The current character challenge is New 52 Wonder Woman. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Deathstroke, Doomsday, and Lobo, who, if you're looking at the lowest tier you can get them, are bronze, silver, and gold, respectively. So, kind of standard for what this is. You definitely be able to get it if you have a good chunk of resources behind your belt, but not the best for a new player, especially because there's not a lot of Lobos, I think, to get.
Right, there's just the one.
Yeah, so relatively uncommon. There's a decent chance that unless
But he's in the store.
You've got a bunch of stuff that you're going to have to buy somebody in the store for this challenge. Which is not ideal, but also, it's okay.
Yeah.
So her passive is Justice League Fury, which is when Wonder Woman activates a special attack or super move, Justice League teammates receive power. And then they list the Justice League teammates, which are Superman, Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. She's got 1,300 attack, 1,200 health. She was last available on the 16th of September, 2021.
Right. And whenever people make these tier levels of cards, I find that she's not ranked nearly high enough. A lot of times when we talk about the cards on an individual basis, I don't know why we can arbitrarily say, well, if you max them out to the level in promotion, this one is better than another one, but we don't talk about maxing out their potential by pairing them up with the best gear.
Yeah.
And I think she is the single best teammate if you're going to be thinking of using any Justice League cards. And she is one of the cards that was transformed completely by the introduction of the Tantu Totem. So any passes before that required generating power weren't that good. Generating power wasn't that easy, and her passive, requiring lots of bars of power to be useful, wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Her teammates get power equal to half of what she spends, so a super spends 3 bars, it gives her 1.5, or her teammates 1.5. Special 2 spends 2, gives 1. Special 1 spends 1, gives 5.
Yeah,
half.
If you've got a full team, you basically get all your power back just distributed to the rest of your team.
Right. Her special 2 is great in a bunch of different ways. One, it does full damage because it doesn't have a secondary effect. It gives you the best chance of knocking out the opponent, giving power back, and more power to give to her teammates. It can also knock out an opponent on more than the last hit. So we compare that with a previous week's, a couple weeks ago.
And by more than you mean like a hit before the last hit.
Right. So any of the hits can knock somebody out. If it does enough damage, it'll do it. Some of the characters, like Rebirth Green Arrow, which we talked about very recently, can only knock out on the last hit, which is awful. Mm-hmm. So once Tantu Totem came around, it was easy to generate and recover power, and that's what unlocked her potential. And if you think of her passive as a way of leveraging and magnifying the effect of Tantu Totem, which it is, then Man of Steel Superman is another way of magnifying it even more. So it can be really fun to play a specialist team like that, even though that's not what we're going to be demonstrating here. This is our usual Phantom Zone speedrun team. Mm-hmm. And she does a really neat thing with Astro Harness. So Claw of Horus, that's really good for shattering Astro Harness. I feel like her passive combined with Tantu Totem is even better. She's my absolute favorite when I'm facing a team that has Astro Harness in first slot, because I see that as an opportunity to power up everybody.
Yeah.
So if you get lucky, so here's sort of the breakdown. On Astro Harness's first invulnerability, you can do 3 special 1s against it, getting your power back each time, because her special 1 has a very fast animation, doesn't take a lot of time, and if the invulnerability finishes, it does a decent amount of damage. So 3 special 1s, you get 1.5 bars of power for each of her teammates already.
Yeah.
Invulnerability drops, she still has 2 bars. If you're lucky, 1 hit from her special 1 unblocked will take down the health of your opponent down to the next invulnerability while you still have a bar of power.
Yeah.
That's another 3 special 1s. Mm-hmm. So effectively 3.5 bars of power. Now, the extra half bar doesn't matter, except in characters like New 52 Superman, where generating power, even if it doesn't count on your 3 power bars because you're maxed out, still count towards the powering up his passive. And you can see she's excellent for Phantom Zone, where a bunch of the tasks are tied to or can be tied to specials. So damage over time effects, damage over time, damage amount, doing specials, doing health steals, all super with New 52 Armored Woman. She's absolutely a beast.
So there we go. In terms of the challenge cycle, we've had 2 complete runs of a 43-week cycle starting in May of 2020. We are 26 weeks into that 3rd cycle, so, past the halfway point. That's 112 total weeks where we've been just going through this uninterrupted pattern, and we expect to see Suicide Squad Joker next week, as long as that pattern holds, and the fact that it has for more than 2 years now, we fully expect it to. And just a reminder, that cycle has 23 challenge characters that remain missing, so if you want everybody, you're going to have to go diving in the packs, and you won't be able to unlock everybody in the store, which is a bit unfortunate.
Right.
If you're starting now.
Yeah.
This week's multiplayer award is Suicide Squad Joker Unhinged. His passive is Unhinged, and it's a 2-parter. So the first part is the Joker can't wait to show you his toys. A powerful random effect will occur on his special 1. And then the second part is after Joker defeats an opponent team member, he drives them insane, and they will fight for you with reduced health. Can be triggered twice if using a team of 3 Suicide Squad characters. He's got 1,400 attack and 1,300 health. It was last available on the 9th of December 2021. In terms of the multiplayer reward cycle, we've been through 2 complete cycles of a 31 reward sequence, and we're 18 weeks in our 3rd cycle, which is 80 weeks in a row of a consistent pattern. So, less than 2 years. And next week we should see the overpowered super pill.
And there's nothing missing from this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's got great stats. Attack is 1,400, health is 1,300. Those are really high. But despite this, I feel like this is the worst card because he's worse than a card with 0 passive.
Yeah, he's worse than his stats. There's some people who are better than their stats.
Yeah.
And who are good for reasons separate from it. You think of somebody like Containment Suit Doomsday, right? Who has a huge amount of stats and stuff where his passive really makes him. And this character is worse than just the pure stats.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're actually going to use him, if you're using him for fighting, if you're not using him as a placeholder or to satisfy like a minimum number of Suicide Squad characters, right? He's actually, he makes things worse. So, so when the passive says he gets back reduced health, you get back about a third of the health.
Yeah.
And it makes the fights last longer because when you are fighting if his passive triggers, you get the character with no passive, no gear effects.
Yeah.
If you're fighting against a weaker card and you knock them out, you slow down farming because now all of a sudden you've got weaker stats.
Yeah.
And no gears. It also gives your opponent a chance to build up some power. I should probably mention the first part of the passive that sounds like it might be interesting, right? You potentially
special ability on his first specials, yeah.
Poison, power drain, power gain, life drain. I'm not a big fan of random effects. You can't really plan around them.
Yeah. And, an ability on a special isn't normally part of the passive.
Yeah. It's
the fact that it's randomized, and that's not actually helpful. That's worse than having it just be one consistent thing.
Right. So there's one maybe very specific use case where if the circumstances are perfect, he's good, is if in the later stages in Survivor you're facing somebody that's much more powerful, that has higher stats, and you time it perfectly so that someone else does all the work, but Unhinged Joker gets the knockout, he could be a little bit useful, having the stats of a much higher powered opponent. But a weaker fight, he's slower. Against a stronger opponent, he's also kind of slow because even if you get the stats, you're not getting any gear. You lose all your gear effects.
Yeah.
I would just rather not have him at all.
So you can make him a little okay in the right situation, but he's not great.
Yeah.
Moving on to the store, we have the Suicide Squad Joker bundle for $24.99 Canadian. That is the version that comes with 100,000 credits. It's included in next week's challenge. It's a second sort of piece confirming that next week's challenge is gonna be Suicide Squad Joker. And it does not unlock in store. As always, that's our reminder to tell you that if you can hold off and you think you will probably have the requirements to actually complete the challenge next week, you're going to not only earn a copy, but unlock it in the store so that once you have enough credits, you can just buy those extra copies that you need.
Right.
Or, do the challenge reset and just play for them.
Right.
We also have the Femme Fatale pack for $24.99 Canadian. It was the same price when it showed up in January of this year. And the last time it showed up, I think, was in February of 2020.
When it was higher, it was a couple bucks more.
It was $26.99. But it used to be before that a much better deal where it was just 300,000 power credits, which is significantly nicer. Yeah. And that came with animated Harley. It comes with Batgirl Prime and Wonder Woman 600. This is a team with good synergy. It's a good pack. It's still good resources, right? Yeah. But the value, if you have a ton of money and no time to earn people, then I guess this is an okay deal if you really like the game. It's better than most of the challenge packs anyways. But the fact that we know it used to cost 300,000 credits makes it a really, really hard sell.
What was always interesting to me was it felt like back when these packs were for power credits, this was probably one of the best packs in terms of the planning that went into making an actual team where you could take all three and play them together. Mm-hmm. So you've got Batgirl giving power to everybody, Wonder Woman increasing power gen and attack, and animated Harley Quinn increasing power gen and attack. Mm-hmm. Really powerful team.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess if you're going to buy something, this is one thing that's a better deal than most stuff you see in the store.
Two challenge characters, one is in the store, so it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't spend that kind of money on the game.
Not
we don't
for
make
that.
a habit of it.
Power recharges, I think, is the place to spend because that lets you just play more.
Yeah, it's a good way of supporting the devs at a much sort of more reasonable price point. Yeah. We also have the Ultimate Bundle Villains and Monsters, which is running for its second week. We've already talked about it before. The price tag always shocks me, just the 125 Canadian. Yeah. And then we also have the Survivor Pack, which is 27 weeks in. We have the Character Bundle Batman Universe, which is hung around for 32 weeks. We have the Most Wanted Pack, which is hung around for 39 weeks. And then the cycle of those 300 End Metal packs, Joker, Aquaman, and Shazam Celebration packs, those have been around for half a year now. Just under 1 week, if you average them out, right? It's either 25 weeks or 27 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's just about 1 week off of half a year, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
But there we go. In our Survivor, we have the Suicide Squad gear set until the 27th of July, 2022.
Yeah. Phantom Zone, we've got one more week left. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough was, as expected, Zatanna, Flash, and Solomon Grundy. Coming weekends is probably going to be Raven, Superman, and the Arkham Knight, if the pattern holds. And there's a link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle, and that cycle has held, I don't know now, I should have kept track, but it's been, ever since they added the missing characters, it hasn't changed.
Mm.
And this is the part where we used to just talk about the glitches, but we're only going to do that
on the first episode of every month.
Or listen, every time something significant changes, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
When nothing changes, that's a spoiler, I guess, which is what has happened in the last little bit. We're still going to give a detailed review once a month, and that was July 7th, which was last week.
Yeah, so you can check last week's video if you want the more detailed description. The important part is that the challenge reset works, and we have tested that on the current New 52 Wonder Woman challenge, and the reminder that, the Phantom Zone reset also works, and they are the same glitch. So if you are going to do one, make sure you're willing to reset your progress on both, and ideally make it so that you want to reset your progress on both.
Right.
So you're not rolling yourself back on something accidentally.
Okay.
And to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all the lovely folks who support us on Patreon.
That's BomboBen, Consul Peasant, and Edwoon at the top tier last word. That's Sinemac and Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier. Shawn Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, Eddydoo, and Hoshi127 at the credited level. And Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer 2for1, Pavu RS, Gavin Mallott, and Isfar E at the gratitude level.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Komoda.